question everyone in America is asking.
Am I racist?
Make those moves.
Buy your tickets to see Am I Racist in theaters now.
This is all I have. Did you want to?
I can help you guys out.
Yeah.
Go to AmIRacist.com now for showtimes.
I've been told because I'm a white male, kind of at the top of the pile, how do I get down from the top?
I don't think you necessarily can.
How do we get past all the talk about racism?
We have to love each other.
Well, it can't be that simple. How do we get to a point of racial harmony? It's good to talk to you. We're still on a journey, all of us together.
I think you got some journeying to do.
Just talk to me about the statistics. We have an epidemic.
20 million crimes a year, 6,000, 7,000 hate crimes. No, there's no epidemic.
Why are we talking about statistics? This is not a matter of statistics.
Well, you asked me about the statistics.
Am I Racist? Rated PG-13 in theaters now. Go to AmIRacist.com for tickets and showtimes now.
It's Monday. Don't panic. Believe me, we've got it all covered. We're going to try and find a way to get all this jam-packedness into a show in an hour and a half. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you just joined us, welcome to the show. First, before we get into it, Shedeur Sanders after the game. All right, Colorado catches a lot of heat for kind of the way that they act. Went up to Nicolosi, the quarterback at Colorado State. I want to play the clip first, and then we're going to talk about it. Let's play it after Colorado had beaten them. Play the clip.
Tiger, sit on Instagram. All right, keep talking about business.
All right, here's what to me, I got the only issue I have with this at all is that he didn't shake his hand. Because to me, I would have shook your hand and brought you in and told you. I'm not going to tell you from 5 feet away, and I don't even want the cameras to hear me. I just want you to know that I know I did it to you again. Because Colorado State ran their mouth all week on social media. Like Colorado talks, and we see it. Shiloh talked before the Nebraska game or whatever. But Colorado State ran their mouth too. If you run your mouth about me on social media and then we beat you, after the game, I'm going to go up to you and shake your hand like a man. I'm going to bring you in close. And I'm going to let you know, like, I don't want the buzz around. I don't want people to hear me. I just want you to know that we did it to you again. And then if you're going to run your mouth and you don't back it up, I'm going to let you know what I think. I got no problem with this other than he didn't shake his hand and kind of bring him in. And really, that to me, if your whole goal was to be like, have that gotcha moment, I think you make it even more personal to me. But outside of that, I got no problem.
I ain't shaking the hand of a man who sits here going to go talk shit about me on a podcast. I don't got to shake his hand. Why I got to shake your hand? I'm going to let the whole world know what we just did.
They did. Don't they know?
You're lucky I didn't bring it. You're lucky I didn't bring in a mariachi band at the end of the game and started celebrating on the 50. All the cameras, all the microphones, everything you can bring, tell it to the world. You want to get there on a podcast and tell it to everybody? I don't got to shake your hand.
Well, I just think it's more. It makes it hurt even worse for them, and I think it's the more kind of, I guess, manly is the best word to describe it thing to do. I mean, I'll shake your hand. That's fine. But when I shake it, I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to let you know, like, at the end of the day, you're 0 for 2, buddy. Not only that, we greased you at your place after all the stuff you said. So I've got no problem with saying it. I would have just liked it to be a little bit even more personal, but maybe I'm
loud with it. See, it'd be different if they were quiet with it, but they're loud.
If you're going to talk that much trash before the game, it's a little surprising that you would go up and shake the man's hand. But we see fighters do this all the time. I see fighters go and try and sell fights. They go and sell the pay-per-view before, and they're legitimately fighting each other. And that's not a football game. And then they'll hug each other. I see two boxers who just beat each other to death almost, go hug each other after the fight because that's the competitor in them, and they're like, hey, we wouldn't.
Well, and as crazy as this sounds, and I'm not the biggest fan in the world of it, but look, college football is a business. Like, you're kind of trying to sell the fight a little bit, right? We see college football analysts do this all the time, and maybe not the players. Maybe that's a little bit too far. But I also want to say this. I've been very critical about some of the ways that Colorado has handled themselves in pregame and stuff like that, and a lot of people have, and I think that's kind of what turns some people off from Colorado. But I'm going to keep that same energy for the way Colorado State has handled themselves. Remember, before the game last year, Jay Norvell was running his mouth about Colorado before the game to the media. That's what sparked it all. That's why I think you saw this animosity carry over even more. But Colorado State was running their mouth as much as Colorado was. But people aren't giving the same energy to Colorado State doing it as they were to Colorado. Now, has Colorado kind of brought that on themselves a little bit more? I guess. Maybe this is more isolated for Colorado State to Colorado. But I'm the type person, like, I'm going to bring the same energy based on a result or if somebody acts a certain way. And this is 2 years in a row where whether it's the players or the coach has run his mouth about Colorado before the game, right? So I've got no problem with this interaction at the end.
It just seems like you legitimately treated Colorado State like a worthy opponent when you do that to me. Because, see, like, I was thinking Shedeur Sanders is number one quarterback in the country, like first overall draft pick. Like, that's what you should be playing yourself as to me.
Yeah, but how many opportunities is Colorado going to get to actually talk trash after a game? That's what I'm wondering.
That's what I'm at. Like, is that where we are as a mindset? We gotta celebrate and talk trash while we can because we're really not a good football team. Or was that just like a small-time foe in your schedule?
Well, it is a rival too, right?
Like,
so I guess
to be
there's
the number
that
one pick,
aspect.
you're the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah,
or you just in the moment, like, oh, I'm going to talk down to Colorado State.
Well, you look at the rest of that schedule, and listen, Colorado was better than Colorado. Colorado State's bad up front. I think people forget. Look, Texas is really good, but they dropped them like a bad habit in week one. Texas did, just beat them up. Colorado State, not a very good football team on the line of scrimmage. This is one of the few times where I think Colorado is even ahead of the team they're going to play on the line of scrimmage. As opposed to what they're going to be facing down the year. So that being aside, I think it was taking advantage of an opportunity, right? And how many other teams are going to talk trash to Colorado the way that Colorado State did? So
kind of did them a favor.
Yeah, a little bit. I think they did. We want to know what you guys think. Got a great show for you today. Oklahoma and Tennessee headline an exciting Week 4 college football slate we're going to dive in. Billy Napier's future at Florida looks dim after another tough loss at home, this time to A&M. And Harrison Butker hits a walk-off field goal for the Chiefs to beat the Bengals and the haters. I'm Jay Crain, and welcome to the Monday Fun Day edition of Crain & Company. You better strap in. This is a big one. Florida's going to make a coaching change. We all know it's just a matter of time. So now the question becomes, who are they going to go get, and what are the parameters of the search going to be? And well, some will say you have to go get a guy with Power 4 head coaching experience and success. To me, you can't limit yourself to just that. You need to go find the right person. There's not a perfect formula here. We've seen guys with Power 4 or Power 5 head coaching experience go down in flames and do really well. And we've seen the same with coaches hired from the G5 or lower. But if there's one trait that all the coaches at Florida who have been successful have had since they started to turn up in the 90s, since I can remember, that's that they had an arrogance about them. Look at Spurrier, Urban Meyer, and even Dan Mullen. Like them or not, there was not a quiet confidence about them. Florida doesn't need the reserved, super humble, behind-the-scenes guy. They need the uber confident, we'll tell you what's up, and damn it, we are Florida and you're not type of coach. That swag needs to come back. This is who y'all are, at least to me. Lane Kiffin fits that, yes. But I think there's another guy that fits that too, and it's Curt Cignetti at Indiana, who's already off to a pretty good start. Florida's a golden ticket job. You can win big there for a long time, but the captain needs to have that swagger, and Florida has not had it. Maybe they need to clean out the whole house at the top. Who knows? But the Gators don't need to limit themselves to a coach just because of where he has coached at. But they do need someone with the arrogance to turn it around. Because the truth is, nice guys finish last, especially in Gainesville. Bringing my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver and mustache connoisseur Blaine Crain.
Thank you.
David, I mean, there is a pattern here at Florida. The coaches who have won, and listen, I didn't love all the stuff Urban Meyer did, right? Bringing in guys like that. I'm not even really talking about that. It's, I think, whether it's, Will Muschamp, who couldn't be arrogant because they never achieved anything, really, when he was there, outside of blocking each other against Georgia Southern. All the coaches that they've had in the past that had that arrogant confidence about them, they've won. And we talk about fit. I don't think it's geographical. I don't think you have to be from a place to win at a place. But I do think there are traits at places that you need to have the best chance of hitting the highest winning efficiency rate you can at that place. And at Florida, I think it's arrogance.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about Spurrier and Urban Meyer. They definitely had a lot of confidence about him and went about
Mullen too, if you go back. Dan?
If I'm checking boxes, I wouldn't start with arrogance. I'd just say, like, hey, can we stop the run first? That'd be the first thing I'm looking for in a new coach. But, yeah, it shouldn't be this hard at Florida. I mean, Spurrier coached there for 12 years. The worst he ever did was 9-4. Yeah. Urban Meyer coached there for 6 years. The worst he did was 8-5, and it seemed like he was kind of already on his way out. And in those 6 years, 2 national championships. We fired Dan Mullen too quick after he went 10-3 and 11-2 and had an 8-4 season in his third year. That's out of the window now because it already happened. So it really doesn't help us to go back and say, oh, well, we shouldn't have done that. Now you got to look forward. Billy Napier is not going to be the coach moving forward. The two of us at least tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think, Blaine, you weren't big on the hire from the very beginning, but you can't have 3 losing seasons at Florida. What are we talking about? It's the University of Florida. So will they discriminate against Group of 5 head coaches because of what Billy Napier has done there? I think maybe. You're saying they shouldn't.
I don't think they should.
It may be unfair because there's a lot of really great coaches, but not only has it not worked out, but then also the next hire, the nickname Sunbelt Billy is going to be in the back of their mind, which I thought was an unfair moniker that he earned there, but so far it hasn't worked out. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out more, what'd you say, in the next few weeks probably?
Shane Matthews, the guy who's very plugged in, played at Florida, said on his podcast, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they're not going to fire him for a couple weeks at least. Remember, they go to play Mississippi State this week in the Patience Bowl, one with a T and one with a C. But he also said the boosters are going to be the one that makes the next hire, because if you look at the success in the 3 major sports of all the hires that Scott Strickland's had at Florida compared to Jeremy Foley, it's not only night and day, it's the exact opposite. So what he is saying is the money people will be making this hire because they're going to have to be the ones that comes together to do the buyout. That's typically how it works. And that it's probably going to take a couple weeks, because we talked about, and Blaine, this is something that we had a deep discussion about. When do you make the decision? When do you pull the trigger? Do you wait till the end of the year and maybe hope a guy can swoop in like Bill O'Brien did at Boston College and keep everybody there because there's not this gap of time where the head coach isn't there? Or do you go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, let the roster get ravaged? I do know there's dead periods and all this stuff with the transfer portal, but people talk through third parties. Like, it's an interesting way to know somebody is getting fired, but when do you do it? That's kind of the question.
It's like gangrene, man. You better cut off the leg now before it spreads.
So you're for just chopping.
Your roster got depleted when Miami came to Gainesville and beat y'all's ass, and then looked at all your recruits and told them to come to Miami. There's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that. Texas A&M just went into Gainesville with a backup quarterback and looked like a completely different tier football.
Oh, we're going to get into that because Marcel Reed needs to play.
If you're a Florida, he has to go. Because the worst thing that can happen to Florida, realistically, if Billy goes and win a couple games he's not supposed to. Like, if you go beat after looking at your schedule, or you win that one game, and then people start talking, well, maybe we keep him, maybe we keep. No, it's over. It's been over. It's like that Beatles song, help. Somebody help! Please, somebody help me.
I wasn't expecting that.
Me either.
Well, if what you're saying is right, then you got to make a move on the AD.
Well, here's the thing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go hire a guy that's not stopping the run, or like a guy that's offense doesn't work? You're going to go hire somebody that's doing a good job. So to me, it becomes, can this guy handle the smoke at Florida? Yes, he's going to have a good system on offense or defense, whatever he is. He's going to be doing a good job. They're not going to go hire a Clark Lee from Vanderbilt because they beat Virginia Tech. Or they're not going to go hire somebody that's struggling like Neil Brown from West Virginia right now. So you're going to get a top guy, whether it be a top Group of 5 guy, top Power 5 guy, or whatever. And I get it, Florida fans. A lot of y'all are Lane Kiffin or bust. I get that. I understand that. Anybody that tells you what they think Lane Kiffin is going to do or that they know it, that's tough. That's like trying to guess what Harbaugh is going to do. That's not a great bet in my opinion. But to me, it is the personality. Florida has been made fun of for so long now. Like, it's been a running joke. Like, Florida's been the running joke. How do you fix that, right? You bring in somebody that then starts making fun of everybody else. You flip it on them. Oh, you want to talk this about me? Well, guess what? I'm at Florida now, and we're about to start going around and beating people up. That's what we're going to start doing. So I don't think they need to bring in some guy who's like, listen, what I really want to do is everybody just come in here and we're gonna go walk a bunch of old ladies across the street and we're gonna do it. They need somebody who's coming in there. It's like, this is Florida. Signetti went on the court at Indiana and said Purdue sucks, and so does Ohio State, and so does Michigan. And I know they haven't played anybody that great, but Indiana's a cool place to go right now, and they're beating people to sleep.
You know who's like that too is Golish. We're talking about a group of
Alex would do it too.
Hey, but if Bobby Petrino can be back on campus in Fayetteville, Arkansas, why can't Urban Meyer return to Gainesville?
Oh, look.
Why can't
if I'm Florida,
return
he's one of the top 3 guys.
Here's why.
I call.
Here's why.
We separated too soon.
I think
got a divorce.
There's 2 reasons. One, I think he's waiting on the Notre Dame job, which, if you look at some of the injuries that just happened this past week, yeah, they beat Purdue up, but I think they lost 2 D linemen and an offensive lineman for the rest of the season. I think Notre Dame's in trouble going forward. Now, will they fire Marcus Freeman after this year? I don't think so. But it's one thing if you're Bobby Petrino and look, allegedly you hooked up with the volleyball coach and crashed her motorcycle, a.k.a. her boyfriend beat you up. Like, we all know what happened. And then it's another thing when you signed a serial killer. There's some stuff you can come back from.
It's about when you find out he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
that's look, if he puts in 4 good years and 6 years later you find out he's killed 3 people, that's not your fault. How is that your fault?
But it was happening at Florida.
He didn't know.
Shot
Urban
somebody.
didn't know.
So then are we going to blame Bill Belichick too?
For what?
For Aaron Hernandez being a murderer.
If you want.
Did he know?
I don't think Bill Belichick's going back to the Patriots.
The real question is can Florida...
Maybe he'll go to Florida.
Do you put an interim in?
Have you seen the Panthers?
You can't... what guy could you go get right now?
Okay.
Nobody's going to take that job. Okay. Lane Kiffin didn't take the job when Ole Miss is top 5.
You're not buying Urban Meyer then. Steve Spurrier. Look, old ball coach got a couple years.
No, you wait on Ryan Day not to win the national championship. Then they fire him.
I don't think that's
call
crazy,
Ryan
dude.
to come coach at Florida.
Here's what I think may happen. I think somebody sent a text out. It was like, how bored is Nick? How bored is he?
There's no way.
How bored? How bored is he? He's looked like he's having a great time on game day. But you just ask. Because Florida is, I think, a job, if any. And I'm not saying he will. If Nick Saban were to come back, I think Florida's one he would be like, oh, really? It's like, oh boy, from Django Unchained. He's like, at first you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. But I don't know if Nick wants to come back.
Why leave Bama?
Huh?
Why would you ever leave Bama?
Again, I'm not saying this is likely to happen, but if it was me in charge, there's nothing wrong with putting a note on an owl's foot and sending him out.
You want to bring up guys in Tuscaloosa, I get it, but there's another guy walking around.
Nate Oates is not coaching football. I just feel like I wish he would.
I feel like he'd be a great fit.
I wish he would. All right, we want to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments. But first, before we get into the chat, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about energy, clean energy. And no, I'm not talking about wind turbines. I'm talking about Ketone IQ. It's got no sugar. It's got no caffeine. All right, due to our modern diets and sedentary lifestyle, we often eat more carbs than we need, and we store the excess. All right, we're pretty big right now. You go back and look at videos from the 30s, everybody's skinny. You walk around Walmart right now past 10:30, you're basically going to mutant school with Professor X.
10:30
all right,
in the morning.
Which leads to, what do you think I'm in at night? That often leads to reduced energy levels, unwanted weight gain, and chronic metabolic diseases. That's why Ketone IQ is the best. They work with top Olympic athletes. You look at Sam Ladlow, Des Linden. I can go down the list. And compared to other sources of energy like glucose or fat, ketones are a more efficient fuel that can produce more power while using less oxygen. Basically, this gives you energy, and it's good for you. It's not just pumped full of sugar and caffeine that gives you that quick energy burst, and then all of a sudden you wondered how you fell asleep on the steps at 8:45. That's the truth. And for a limited time only, you can save 30% off your first subscription order and receive 6 free ketone pack of Ketone IQ when you go to ketone.com/booster. There's no Y in this. All right, it's not a piano. It's ketone.com/booster for 30% off your first subscription order today. All right, let's get into the chat. We got a lot to get
through. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic, and I know my mustache looks beautiful. You don't have to tell me. We're going to start it off with SDR. It says, Florida needs new donors first. How many coaches have they been through? The common denominator is obvious.
New donors? Yeah, good luck. You just don't go pull those out of the ground. What you need now is somebody to make a good decision. I mean, you look at Scott Strickland. I mean, I could pull up the numbers. They're going all around the internet. It's not good. So maybe you give those guys a chance to make the move, to make the hire and see if that works out. I wouldn't blame the donors here. I would blame the AD because I think the AD is the one who's made these hires. So, again, you're the head of the athletic department. You're the AD, the athletic director of athleticism and decision-making. It's on you. Now I think you do. If Shane's right, which I think he is, and the money people are going to make this decision, it's time to mix it up. I wouldn't blame them. They didn't put that product out in the field.
You know, you can miss on a couple head coaches in a row and then land on a good one. Look at what Texas is doing right now.
Without a doubt.
I mean, from what happened with Mac Brown. And some of the, like Tom Herman, like those guys are good football coaches too. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, but they landed on Steve Sarkisian and things are looking pretty good.
It's looking really good.
All right, let's go to Eric. Eric, what is up? He says, give Mullen the portal. He quit too early. I want to see what he can do with his magic.
So you want Dan Mullen to come back. Like the ultimate admission of we were wrong. You want to talk about having a university by the cojones? Imagine they fired you, right? And then it was so bad. It's like you see these videos on TikTok, like these women who people got divorced, and then they're like, oh my God, I made the biggest mistake. It's been 8 years, and now he's happy. He's got a new wife, and the guy I cheated on him with. That's what this is like, right? You made a bad decision. Now in hindsight, at least you would think. And Dan Mullen, it wasn't good at the end, if you remember, with Todd Grantham and that whole situation. But now you're going to come crawling back? That's all right. But if you come crawling back, I want to be the highest paid coach in college football. I want a guaranteed contract of this much. Or because I'm the captain now. You think it was bad back then? You come crawling back. I open my door. You're on the doorstep crying with a bowl of porridge, just begging me to move back in the house because Ricky, the lifeguard, apparently doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm going to give you $100.
Yes, I mean, I'm not, it ain't me. I'm petty enough not to do it.
Let's go to Daniel Denny. What's up? He says, I think someone said Jimbo Fisher, the man who did the least with the most. What are your thoughts?
Next question.
There's not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
All right, let's go to M.W. Baxton. What's up, brother? He says, right now, I think Ryan Day would be a great fit at Florida. I know he'll lose one game and get fired. What do y'all think?
Well, I will say, Blaine, you've been saying this for a while, but with Ryan Day, is this what it could even be, what if he balls out and they win the national championship and he's like, you know what? Peace.
Then he's going to go to the NFL.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Why would you leave where he's at unless you're fired? They gave him $20 million for this run.
David, what happens? What happens? All right, with all the stuff that's gone on with Michigan the past 3 years, which if you follow college football, you know what I'm talking about. Let's say Ohio State runs the table regular season, wins the Big Ten championship. They make it to the Final Four, and they lose and they don't win the national championship. And all of a sudden, all the fans just start bashing Ryan Day again, just eating him alive. At what point is he like, you know what? It'll never be good enough. I'm going to go where I'm wanted. I'm going to go where they're going to look at me and they're going to say, hey, that's Ryan Day, our head football coach, and I love him. You go 11. You know what Florida would do to go 11-1 right now? I know what Auburn would do. A lot. So I don't think it's that crazy. But I think a lot, again, has to do with how the Bears do this year.
Okay, so a few thoughts on that. One, the timeline. If he's making the college football playoff and is making the Final Four, he's coaching until January, into December at the very least. Florida's going to make a move here in the middle of the season. They're going to need to have something by the time that portal.
Well, how do we know? I mean, we saw this in college baseball. I mean, Texas A&M's coach was gone before the College World Series started. Is this something of, hey,
what you're saying is it would be
2 lamps on the window, I'm coming, 1 I'm staying.
But you're saying it would be a reaction to him getting buried after losing. I mean, what if he can't promise Florida he's coming before he knows he's lost in the semifinals?
Well, that's right. That's true. No, that's 100% true. But do you think it's reached a point now where
what you're saying is not the craziest scenario because they have been hard on him, but they should be.
They should.
He hasn't won a national championship.
It's
and
Ohio
at what
State.
point does the Florida fans, if that scenario were to play out, and Ryan Day goes to Florida, and then they lose a couple games, at what point do they do what LSU's saying about Brian Kelly right now and saying,
well,
wait,
David, that's
he wasn't winning the national championship
David, that's
at Notre
what
Dame.
everybody does, though. Like, that's the cycle of life in this job.
Because you're saying, what would Florida give to go 11-1 right now? A lot. but that's not what they want to do. They want to win the national championship.
I agree. But what my whole point is, it's cyclical, right? Like one man's trash is another man's treasure in this league. Mm-hmm. And sometimes guys want to go to where they're wanted so we can start this cycle all over again. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get hot early and 5 years down the road, you're losing 2 or 3 games and they get pissed. And then you know what you say? Y'all remember the last time a guy won double-digit games multiple years and then went 8-4 and you fired him? And then, you remember what happened the last time that? Maybe Florida fans see it in a whole new light. Maybe there's a lot more forgiveness this time. Maybe they've learned. So it's an interesting.
It's nothing like going out, being really successful at a little job, all right, then going to get the big job and you blow it. All right, then you give them that call back. If Florida needs a guy, all right, everyone huddle up. All right, Brian Harson's waiting.
They should give this crew a chance.
They should. We would
do better than that.
Come on, man.
We'll split that salary into thirds.
Come on, man.
We'll do it. We'll do it for
$30 gift card to Denny's.
All right, let's move on to Oklahoma, Tennessee. Right.
All right, Oklahoma. We got a top 15 matchup this weekend. Oklahoma versus Tennessee. Right now, the line is an even 7, -7 Tennessee, over under 58. This is a 7:30 game this weekend.
I can't wait for this. Just a couple storylines. Josh Heupel. It's stunting on your ex time, is what it is. Won a national championship. It's a quarterback at Oklahoma. Mm. You get fired as the OC at Oklahoma. Rumors swirling. There's bad blood between you and Bob Stoops, who's like the godfather of Oklahoma. And now you get a chance with a Tennessee team that's really good. I don't care about this. Don't send me the schedule for Tennessee anymore. Because it's one thing to beat teams the way you should, and then it's another thing to look the way that Tennessee has looked, whether it be against NC State or whatever. I know NC State had to come back to beat La Tech, and they just changed their quarterback. It's not a great situation in Raleigh right now. But I will ask the same question that I have asked since the beginning of the year when it comes to Tennessee. What are they bad at? Where is the weakness? If I'm Brent Venables and I'm watching Tennessee on tape, where are they bad at? Where am I going to take advantage of them at? I think Tennessee, one, is super confident right now, and they should be. They're clicking on all cylinders. They play complementary football. For the first time in a while, they have depth on the front seven of defense that not only has sustained them, it's helped their back end grow because you can hide an average secondary with a really good front seven rather than vice versa. We know that. So if I'm Oklahoma and I'm looking at this game, I got Jackson Arnold, which the offense did look better against Tulane.
Yep.
But this ain't Tulane rolling up to Norman this weekend. You got an offensive line that still hasn't played a lot together and hasn't seen this together, that struggled against Houston. So when you look at all the advantages in this game, the only advantage I see for Oklahoma is that it's at home. And this is the first time that Nico has truly gone on the road. Remember, they played NC State and Charlotte, quote-unquote neutral game. 60-40 not neutral when you got to go to their state and play, in my opinion. And you beat them to death, and I don't think Nico played that well. So how do you stop them? The first thing you got to do, it's just like facing a triple option team, is you got to stop the dive, you got to stop the run. If you stop the run and you make Nico beat you, he can if he has to, but you've got to take one thing away. And Stutzman is a dog. Oklahoma's best part of their team is the defense. That's obvious. But we talked about this, whether it was Clemson, Georgia, talked about it multiple times. Eventually, the dam breaks on defense if your offense cannot move the ball and consistently score, or they're turning it over. So if you stop the run, which includes Dylan Sampson and the quarterback, so you're having to funnel resources there, they can truly get a hat on a hat, and then they can just spit it outside, and you have to consistently tackle high-level skill guys in space. I think Oklahoma may come out early and get a couple stops, but I think Tennessee's defense will find a way to hurry Jackson Arnold up, to muddy up the RPO, which will lead to a couple turnovers. And then all of a sudden, we're going to be like, oh, it's been a good game. We're going to look up in the third quarter, just like we did in the Georgia-Clemson game, and be like, Tennessee's up 27-6. And then you realize it's over. So as Oklahoma's going to be fine in the SEC, they do play at home. It's going to be electric atmosphere. Who deep down really knows what the hell's going to happen? But if I'm a Tennessee fan, I am unbelievably confident, and we can beat you in multiple ways. We can win a rock fight. We can win a track meet. We can win a little bit of both. And Nico has done nothing but gain confidence. And this is his moment to go show everybody it doesn't matter if it's in Knoxville. It doesn't matter if it's in Charlotte. It doesn't matter if it's in Norman or if it's in Zeta Reticula 4. You can't stop us, and we can stop you. and that's the difference. Add in that Josh Heupel, this one's a little bit personal. If he can score 50, he's going to score 50. We'll see.
That's the biggest thing I've noticed from Tennessee on offense this year, their ability to hurt you in every different way possible. Kind of like looking at Oregon this past weekend. I mean, if you want to load the box against Tennessee, they're going to spit it out wide to the wide splits they have at wide receiver. If you want to play a leverage game out there, they're handing off to Dylan Sampson. If you want to go light personnel, they can run Q power, Q counter with Nico, which we haven't even seen him really open up that box.
They haven't had
to. If you want to go heavy personnel in there, they can run double moves on the outside. It's kind of like pick your poison. All the while, you're in base personnel because they're going so fast and you're getting tired with your ones on defense. And now, because Tennessee's so good on the defensive side, and you made this point a couple weeks ago, they don't really have to be afraid of one 3-and-out drive or a couple 3-and-out drive. We tried to go so fast. We tried to do a couple things, got a tip ball here, or, they run fitted well against us here and we went 3-and-out. You don't have to worry about that so much now because the defense isn't a liability. So I don't know. I think for Oklahoma on defense, they did play a lot better against Tulane. And really, Mensah, they made Mensah look like a middle school quarterback after he had a really.
And they bottled up the run
before.
Look, Stutzman and them are really good.
Stutzman, so it's just so much fun watching him play.
He's incredible.
Really he and the rest of that defense. You can't make any mistakes in your run fits against Tennessee, right? You can't make any mistakes in your run fits. And then when they spit it out wide, you have to open field tackle. That alone will give you a chance. I went back and watched the Tennessee and NC State game. Your best chance against Nico is if you can make him hold the ball at least a little bit longer than he wants to. When he's on rhythm and the quick game is working out wide, and even when he's 3 and a hitch on the double moves down the sideline, he's throwing streaks against quarters coverage when the wide receiver isn't even close to open this past week against Kent State. And it's still a deep bomb touchdown. So some of the sample size we have for Tennessee is against Chattanooga and Kent State. Mm-hmm. And that was here's Tennessee's rushing stats through 3 weeks. 304, 249, and 456. Okay, so at least for Oklahoma, you can say, okay, well, we're not Chattanooga. We're not Kent State. All right, and NC State, we don't really love their 3-down, their 3-3-5 plan. Brent Venables, defensive guru, we're going to play better. We're going to force Nico to hold the ball a little bit longer. Maybe we can get a couple turnovers the way that NC State was able to on Nico, despite him bouncing back and still score 51 points.
And you have to have a plan. I just don't know how you make Nico hold the ball longer. That's the thing, because Blaine, and we always talk about depth isn't just for divers. It's the point that you brought up we've been talking about. Tennessee can now afford to be able to go fast-paced and not be like, oh, my goodness, our first defensive line, there's such drop-off with that second group that we can't live this way. They can. But Stutzman is one guy. Mm-hmm. So if I'm Tennessee, and remember, they have these wide splits, those Art Briles splits. They make people run sideline to sideline. Let's say that if you're Oklahoma and you're Brent Venables, who is a defensive genius, I'm going to sit here looking and say, all right, we got to stop the run. All right, what do we do to stop the run? Can we stop the run in our base look? Because you're going to get caught in base looks a lot, which makes it easier for that offensive line and the tight ends and all the blockers to know where to fit up in the run game to be able to hit those creases they've worked on every day since spring practice. So do you sit here and say, well, we're going to funnel resources in the box and just play butt naked on the outside and hope that we don't get, pull our pants pulled down on national TV? Because Tennessee will take shots now. They'll give you the dive, they'll give you power, they'll give you zone, all this stuff, but they will take shots down the field.
Tough to stop Tennessee. If you watch Tennessee the last couple of weeks, I don't know how you can't sit here and say they're good enough to win it all. If I'm Brent Venables, first of all, Brent Venables from a defensive calling standpoint is an absolute.
He'll have the best plan they possibly could have, but I don't know.
You have to try to confuse Nico. If it's me, all right, if it's me and I'm Brent Venables, we all know Josh Heupel wants to do what? He wants to run the football, okay? Nico's a dog. We know Nico's a dog, but we haven't seen him on the road Saturday in Lincoln when that thing is rolling at 7 o'clock at night. If it's me, I'm going to stop the run, all right, and I'm going to make you prove it to me. I want to make you prove it to me when the lights are the brightest, because the road test hadn't happened yet. It's in Kent State. NC State's
your best hope.
NC State's a not very good football team. They're not. You look at that spread right now with Clemson, it jumped up
Clemson
5
gonna
points
kill them
in the first day. But I will say this. One, on offense, you better hold that ball as long as you can. Mm-hmm. As long as you possibly can. If you can control the tempo in this game and you're at home, that's a good start. And two, Jackson Arnold's feet. Jackson Arnold, when you play a team like this, and the thing about Tennessee, the depth at D-line is crazy. It's crazy. They're rolling guys in and out, in and out.
They can run.
You're going to have to make some third down plays when the pocket's broken with your feet that can drain the life out of a defense. You're going to have to be able to run with Tennessee, punch for punch, hit for hit for 9 rounds. And if Jackson Arnold can do that, and you can do that at home, and you're one possession in the fourth, as an Oklahoma fan, that's about all you can ask.
Well, and I agree with pretty much everything you said except one thing. The best part, and this is what I've been trying to tell people since Heupel's been at Tennessee, you don't go fast like that just to wear the other defense down. That is a great side effect of doing it. Mm-hmm. The reason you do that is so they can't do what you said at first. They can't confuse you because they're just trying to get their ass lined up in base. What are you going to do, disguise when you're going that fast? How in God's name are you going to do that? You can't replicate. They know what they're doing. You have to wait to see what they're doing to know what you're doing. Either that or you're just guessing. And how do you guess? By calling base looks. That's what you do. So there is no, why do you think Nico looks so comfortable? Because all he's doing is quick multiplication. It's one thing if I got to sit here and figure out the Goodwill Hunting equation of the parameter of the graph with the linear function and tangent. And that's not what they're doing. They're like, hey, Nico, 3 times 6, 4 times 2, 3 times 3, 2 times 2. I can sit here and do that all day. So Tennessee's the best result of that way that they operate going fast is that you cannot disguise what you're doing. You have to make a decision. It is a game of math. Either we're playing even in base, we're loading the box, or we're light in the box. Either way, there's an answer, and it's an easy equation to figure out. That's how you play fast, that's how you play free, and that's how you don't get confused.
I do think this game being in Norman matters.
It does matter.
It's going to sway some points to Oklahoma. And if I'm Oklahoma, how many times can we get Nico to get up off the ground?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It's worth noting he's been sacked once.
Yeah, you got to get
sacked once. So a lot what you're talking about. They're going fast. They're catching defenses in base personnel, and the equation becomes fairly simple in terms of what his reads are, which is great. But on the other side of that, one of the things I get a little worried about with Oklahoma on offense, just trying to play a keep away game and let's have long sustained drives where we're taking the play clock down to 0 is sometimes they have success doing a lot of what Tennessee does.
I agree with that.
A lot of what Oregon does. If this were a game against Arizona State or Michigan or Iowa where your identity is to run the football downhill and take the play clock down, that'd be one thing. I just wonder, is Oklahoma going to take themselves out of the game on offense by trying to keep Tennessee's offense?
And then all of a sudden you get down double digits. Now you have to start.
I'm not going to. But think about it. I'm not going to try to beat Bobby Flay at cooking steak.
Well,
I'm not. You're not going to beat Tennessee by trying to run with them.
Well, you got to be yourself. Like, yes, you make adjustments, but you've got to be yourself. And you have a young quarterback. You've got to do stuff that makes it easier for him. And to your point, his feet, yes. But here's the difference. He can run around Tulane. I watched Jackson Arnold run around Tulane. You're not running around the edges of Tennessee. So you're going to have to hit. You may a couple times get away with it. But you're going to have to move up in the pocket. You're going to have to extend the play with your eyes down the field. That's where you're going to have to hurt Tennessee to me, and in the RPO game as well. But with an offensive line that is still working it out together, and I think Oklahoma fans are finally seeing the light a little bit, like we talked about all offseason. When you replace a quarterback in your whole offensive line, it takes time. Now you're going up against the best team that you've played. Tennessee would beat Houston by 50. I'm telling you right now, they could play that game in Willie Fritz's living room, and Tennessee would beat them by 50.
But how much does that translate to this week? I think it's transitive property.
Well, how much does looking at Chattanooga and Kent State translate? If you're going to sit here and say on one hand, the schedule hasn't been that good, Houston ain't great either. So, again, for Oklahoma to win this game, it's pretty simple to me. Tennessee's going to have to lose it. They're going to have to turn the ball over, and Oklahoma's going to have to play really clean, or you're going to have to find a way in special teams to dominate field position and create points. That's what you're going to have to do. Because if this is straight up Tennessee plays good and Oklahoma plays good, Tennessee's going to cover.
Yeah, and if you're Oklahoma, there can be no such thing as a field goal in this game.
No, and you got to hope for, you're talking about Norman being, and it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit up like a Christmas tree in downtown New York. But how many false start penalties can you get? Can you get Tennessee in 1st and 15? I just don't think you can rely on that the whole game and win this one. So I may be wrong, and Oklahoma fans will come on here and blast me if Oklahoma wins. I'm just not seeing it, David, and I don't think Tennessee is fraudulent.
All right, next one up here. Michigan is going to host Southern Cal this week. The line is -6 right now. USC over-under is 46.5. This is the 3:30 game. And Michigan has announced that Alex Orji is going to take over at quarterback for Davis Warren.
Yeah, and I do want to say the phone lines are going to open here in 7 minutes. We want to hear what you think. 1-855-236-3228. We are going to get to the chat. Michigan made a decision today because we've all watched, I don't know how to say this, we've all watched Orji on the field. Okay, and it's not nearly as exciting as it sounds. He can't throw the ball. All right, we know he can't throw the ball consistently, right? He may have a quarter where he throws it well, but Michigan made the decision and said, you know what? We will run it even more to not turn it over. Because while Davis Warren did do some good things, he throws the ball to the other team too much. And you can't live like that, especially when your defense isn't as elite, especially on definitely on third down, at least, as what we thought. I mean, me and you talking on Sunday on the phone. It's like Michigan can't get off the field on third down against Arkansas State. So Sharon Moore's like, all right, we are really, truly going to embrace the smush and keep away. So what's it going to do? They may throw it, I don't know how many times. They may throw it 5-7 times in this game. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you're Michigan, I think this is a smart move. Like, if we're going to lose, let's not lose turning the ball over. And that's what Davis Warren was doing. So you're having to chop off basically half of the offense, which is the passing game. Yes, you're unbelievably one-dimensional without the guys that you had in the past. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but now it reinforces even more how important USC not out-Michiganing Michigan is. I can't believe it to the point now where I'm asking myself, is USC more physical overall than Michigan? A cool thing about this weekend as well, we're going to find out whether that USC identity that we talk about. It's one thing to have scheme. We talked about this with Josh Pate. Hiring D'Anton Lynn. Got a good scheme. Alex Grinch knows where to tell guys where to go. But it's that identity, embracing that physicality, deciding to be the aggressor. We are the lion in the jungle. We are not going to get run over. We're going to run through you. Is that them now? Or was that just something we saw against LSU? And I think it's a great test for USC going on the road and seeing if they can match that physicality and keep that identity. And let's see if this is a something that is truly them, or was this a flash in the pan on defense? So Michigan made a decision. I actually think it's a smart decision because I'd rather lose running the ball and milking the clock than turning it over, David. But
yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
don't
tough.
know how you can watch what Alex Orji has done so far when he's had his opportunities and say, yeah, we're going to go with him as the starting quarterback, unless, like you're saying, they'll literally just run the football every single play. But even then, I'm looking at it thinking, okay, well, how's that going to work? I mean, Orji had 2 carries against Texas for -1 yards. So even if you're like, hey, we're just going to Tim Tebow his freshman year just battering ram, and that's just going to be our entire offense, more like a wildcat package, that hasn't even worked at a lot of times with his greatest skill set. But that's on the offensive side of the ball. We were expecting some possible problems with Michigan on offense. I don't think we were expecting them to be this bad, but they are. Like you said, the defense, man. What's going on? Your only chance this year was for that unit to be the best in the country. And not only is it not that, you're next to last in the conference at getting off the field on third downs. And this isn't like late in the game against Texas when they've gone up tempo and your ones and your All-Americans are tired. They expose you late in the game, kind of like Clemson versus Georgia in the second half. This is the first drive against Arkansas State. You're giving up 3rd and 8, 3rd and 15, and 3rd and 20 on the very first drive. 3 third down conversions the week before against Texas. Like, to me, that's just not good enough. And you have the personnel to be able to compete. That's the side of the ball that we said is going to keep them in the game. So, look, I don't know. USC coming to town now. If you're a Michigan fan and you want to look at some positives, I do think Michigan's defense, even despite some of the problems we've been talking about, should be able to neutralize USC's run game. And then through the air with Miller Moss and Lincoln Riley calling plays, at least it'll be his first road start. At least you can look and say, well, Miller Moss is going to come to the big house. It's going to be his first true road game. Can we create some problems with him through the air? But it just, the zone they've been running a lot of zone coverage. That hasn't been good enough. Even when they gotten in man, that hasn't been good enough. And now you're really not even going to be able to throw, to be able to be effective on offense. And that all of that is without even talking about whether or not Colston Loveland's going to play. I don't know if your best offensive player is going to play in the football game because he left last weekend with an injury and we haven't been given an update.
Blaine, it's defensively for Michigan, and the third downs is shocking. But it's their lack of tackling ability in space. And if you think it's bad against Arkansas State, wait till Zachariah Branch and some of these cats at USC's rolling up here. And even if you stop the run, what Lincoln Riley and Miller Moss can do because Miller is mobile, and what Lincoln can do to you from a planning standpoint and taking advantage of space and hiding passing plays in influence runs, right? The power pass and things like that. You may stop him for a little bit, and everybody in Michigan's going to be fired up. But eventually, Lincoln, just like Sark, just like Lane, just like Josh, he's going to get you a couple times.
Why? Let me ask you this, David. Why is this game at 6.5? Because everything we sit here and say is pointing at Michigan.
Limited possessions because of Orji? I mean,
Michigan can't do this. Michigan can't do that. The more and USC checks every box. One thing I will say is we really don't know how good these guys are on defense. Mm-hmm. I think we got let down by
USC. Yeah.
I think we got let down by an LSU offensive line that we thought was a lot better
I disagree with you.
Than what we think. I think Michigan will be able to run the ball in this football game. I think they'll be able to run the ball with success. And the question is going to come down to is, does Alex Orji have anything of an arm to put any threat on USC's defense through the air? If they can't do that, you can put enough bodies in the box to compete with it. But this just smells like a trap game to me. It just has everything written about a trap game to me because USC is checking every box. You're at Michigan. It's a physical offensive line. I know they haven't looked great, but sooner or later, those guys are going to figure it out. I don't know, man. There's a question mark next to this.
On the trap game part, it is worth noting USC's coming off a bye week, right? Which it's a little bit harder to trap guys.
Michigan.
It's harder to trap guys when Michigan's ranked higher than them preseason.
Yeah, you're playing at the big house.
I mean,
they are coming off a bye week. They are coming off a bye week. Look, Colston Loveland, I feel like, has to figure out a way to play, even if all they do is run Orji. I will say one more thing for Michigan on the positive side, though. Kalel Mullins, I was telling you guys, look, he needs to be the primary back. Like, Donovan Edwards has always worked out better as that change of pace guy, almost like him more coming in the slot or at least pure gap scheme. Like, just tell Donovan Edwards which gap to hit and let him run. Not as great of a running back in the zone read. Kalel Mullins, 150 yards last weekend. He had 15 carries in week 1. So if you can play off of that with Orji, at least what I know what Orji can do through the pass game is the slip arrow route out of the backfield off of the zone read.
Yeah, and you got to account for it. I mean, just playing it off split zone.
Yes, split zone bluff, hit it flat.
There is one kind of twinkle, twinkle little star here for Michigan as well. Miller Moss is a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
They got away with a lot against LSU.
Yep.
If Michigan does stop the run, I do feel like the greediness of Miller Moss may be a, dude, you threw 2 pick sixes in the first half, like, and it's keeping them in the game, or you held the ball too long and somebody worked off the edge or inside like Graham or one of those guys, and there's a sack, strip, scoop, and a score. When you take a lot of chances, there is a lot of upside to it. We saw that against LSU. But this is a defense that if Miller Moss does go in there and he tries to gung-ho this thing, especially if it's not going good early and he wants to force it, maybe that's why it's at 6.5.
That's a really good point.
Because
Quinn didn't get touched once.
Quinn's not going to panic.
Didn't get touched
He's really
once
not going to panic that much
but
either.
You're exactly right. Miller Moss did force 2 of those balls against LSU and got away with both of them, and had 2 more tip balls and got away with both of those. If 1 or 2 of those goes the other way, LSU wins that.
Especially early. If USC goes and on the first third, Nate Miller, who and look, this is not a bad thing. You don't want to take a guy's stinger away. There's a fine line to walk. He wants to try. He believes he can make every throw. And Will Johnson's sitting back there somewhere.
Yeah.
And those are big guys up front, and Miller is small. Remember as well, how many passes did LSU bat down? This is another big thing that I think you're going to see Michigan do a lot of, being able to knock the ball down. I wonder how much, especially if that hurts them early, they're going to start sprinting Miller Moss out, which limits, obviously, how much of the field you can actually take advantage of. So there's some caveats there. Maybe Blaine, that's why it's at 6.5. But either way, somebody's got to be responsible in this game. All right? And I want to talk about responsibility because it separates the men from the boys deep down. All right? And not just on the gridiron. Talking about your health. All right? We got a great supplement. All right? It's a Daily Wire's Ventures made right here in the USA. You can trust it. We're in the trust tree here. And we know as men, a lot of us, we don't get all the vitamins and you know, whether you take an okay multivitamin or whatever, we don't get everything we need. All right? I don't. My wife's on me all the time. Well, what if you could just start a habit that Gave you everything that you needed. Well, that's where this multivitamin from Responsible Man, which is packed with 33 key ingredients that support your immune system, sharpen your brain, and keep your heart and muscle strongs come in. All right? And like I said, it's not imported, outsourced from anywhere. It's right here. It's got a nice minty flavor. It doesn't smell like it was in the back of an old Buick that they found in some crime scene like some of the other vitamins do.
Raccoon had a family in there.
The raccoon had a family in there. Not a lot of people know that. All right, we wouldn't endorse it if we didn't believe it. We're going to pick our responsible coach of the week. All right, later in the week, we've had Brian Vincent from La Monroe. We've had Clark Lee. But take the thinking out of making sure you're getting what your body needs and take advantage of Responsible Man's fall sale. Get 30% off your order plus an additional $9 off your first order. Head over to responsibleman.com and use code BOOSTER at checkout. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Remember, gentlemen, a strong America needs strong men, and strong men start with Responsible Man. Don't be like Billy Napier in Florida. Be responsible. That's responsibleman.com with code BOOSTER for 30% off plus $9 off your first order. Be the man your team needs you to be. Be a responsible man. All right, let's get to the chat. The phone lines are open. I know we got to get to another game just quickly.
Let's go to J.G. Snave. He says, Tennessee's rolling teams, and they've only ran 10 different plays. Y'all going to see a whole different squad Saturday.
I don't think Tennessee has to do anything extra. I think they're going to go in there and do what we do. It's like McDonald's. You have success making hamburgers, buddy? Keep making hamburgers. I don't think they're going to change anything. I just wonder if we're going to get dark hyple, right? Because, again, it's stunting on your X time. Oh, guys, I told you not to throw it when we were up 35. Come here. All right, good. I told you to throw it. Good. I had to say that.
Let's go to God, Guns, and Ammo. He says, OU talks about all the stuff BV held back on offense, but don't see everything Tennessee didn't do on O and D. No sack receivers, not much passing at all, and ask Texas A&M how it was to stop the run.
I know they didn't hold anything back when they didn't score on 8 straight possessions in the second half against Houston. I don't think that was why. And again, not that nobody's saying that Brent Venables is a bad coach or Oklahoma's in trouble. It's tracking about what we thought this year, right? Now, could they come out and just shock everybody and it looks amazing and Jackson Arnold's figured out Blue's Clues and is doing a Rubik's Cube at halftime? Maybe. I don't think it's likely, though. So, again, just 2 teams in different places right now.
Let's go to $5 donation from Paige. Thank you, Paige. Y'all think the fact that Nico hasn't been sacked so much will be a factor since we don't know how he really deals with contact?
I mean, again, could get hurt at any point. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't go the route of can he handle being sacked or not. I would go the route of can we sack him? So Tennessee's offensive line's been really good. Oklahoma, we'll see if they can get there with 4. Then they're going to have to bring people, and Nico's elusive. So until I see a team that can consistently sack Nico, we haven't seen that, so I don't know. I just know I see how poised he is in the pocket. I see how composed he is, so I can only assume or think or guess that he would handle getting knocked down a couple times pretty deep. He may be a little bit thin, but he's not a little guy.
It's a fair point to ask, especially when you think about Quinn Ewers at Texas. Doesn't get sacked a lot. They do a really good job to protect him, but when he has gotten hit, he's been knocked out of ball games the last couple years. But again, you're not trying to get after quarterbacks and sack quarterbacks to injure them and knock them out of games. Some defensive players throughout history, maybe. But you're trying to get after quarterbacks because that gives you an advantage.
And throw them off, right?
And look, the more you hit a quarterback, that pays dividends in the fourth quarter, late in games.
Right. Let's go to Daniel Belo. He says, when it comes to Oklahoma, you have to shut down the run and hopefully stop the pass, but you have to score on almost every possession. Good luck.
And that's, again, you have to play. When you're playing a team that is playing almost perfect, that means you have to play almost perfect and hope that they don't play almost perfect. Again, we talk about narrow paths to victory. There's one there for Oklahoma. Nobody's saying that they can't win the game. But the odds are very slim that they can. All right, quickly, David, I want to get to Nebraska, Illinois, too, before we get to
and this is a Friday night game. So Nebraska -9 right now, taking on Illinois, and the over-under is 43.5.
I got messaged by a Nebraska fan this morning that was like, please, can you talk to our fan base just for 1 second? We've started 3-0. People are still worried. They're still critical, and they don't know if they need to believe or not yet. Do I think Nebraska's going to win a national championship this year? No. You guys got a quality ball club. You got as balanced of a team as you've had in a long time. And when you go into this Illinois game, there's a couple things I want to note here. Illinois is 90th in the country in stopping the run. Mm-hmm. That is a death sentence against this Nebraska team.
Yeah.
They're small at linebacker. Look at the tight end matchup in this game. Do not forget it. And when you look at Illinois on offense, they're a little bit of a reverse what you think a Brett Bielema team would be. They're having more success throwing it than running it. And Nebraska is giving up 1.5 yards per rush. Now, Illinois did beat Kansas. Why? Because Illinois has been very opportunistic defensively in turning teams over. This is where the maturity, I think, of Dylan Raiola, even as a young guy, is going to come in. Because Illinois is going to have to funnel resources to stop the run. And you're going to make Dylan Raiola beat you through the air. Even Nebraska can still have success if Illinois stacks the box, I think. But let's say they do stop the run and Dylan Raiola's got to beat you through the air. I think he can. That's the difference. And he doesn't put the ball in harm's way a lot, and he's got enough wiggle to make a blitzer miss and get outside. So if you're Illinois, you can't stop the run, you can't run the ball, you're in big trouble. Luke Altmaier has not turned the ball over yet this year, I don't believe. I don't think he's thrown one interception, which kudos to him. But if you go back and watch the past, there are times where he makes catastrophic decisions. And this Nebraska team on the defensive line got guys that can not only get back there, they can get you down. If they can get Shadur down, they can get Luke Altmaier down. So it's going to be an unbelievably raucous environment in Lincoln. It's going to be an awesome environment in Lincoln. But I think this team is awesome. I think Nebraska is way better than Illinois. I don't think Illinois can stop the ground attack, which is going to open it up for Dylan Raiola. And the difference is, I don't think Raiola is greedy. I think he was raised in a football family. I think he understands what's being asked of him. And Matt Rule has got him to a point where he understands how big the run game is in protecting him. Yeah. And I think if they got to hand it off 45 times and win this game 34-10, Tony White may be the best defensive coordinator in the country nobody talks about. And if you're one-dimensional going to this game against Tony White, he's going to take that other dimension away. And you're going to feel like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar behind that bookcase just hoping to God somebody hears you to find a way to score. I like Nebraska. Like huge in this game, David. Huge. I think they beat them into the ground. No, I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be ugly.
Well, one thing you know for sure when a Matt Rule-led team takes on a Brett Bielema-led team is the guys are going to be coached up.
They
right? Like, and that gives you an opportunity just to see, like, hey, who has better talent, right? You're exactly right when you talk about the Illinois ground game, and they gave up 142 rush yards to Central Michigan and 186 to Kansas. What's been the thing to keep them in ball games, though? The turnovers. 9-1 so far, they've won the turnover battle this year. The problem is Nebraska's only turned it over twice so far in 3 games. So can you continue to create turnovers? I think they turned over Jalen Daniels 3 times in the Kansas game and added another fumble.
Which we saw him turn it over a lot the other night.
That was a great win for Illinois.
Yeah, no, it's about, I'm not downing. I'm not trying to say Illinois sucks. I just think you're walking into a buzzsaw and what your deficiencies are their strengths. Mm-hmm. And whenever that happens, it typically doesn't work out well unless Dylan Raiola just all of a sudden becomes 18, like on the field. Because he's not 18 right now. He's closer to 28 than he is 18 right now. So if he doesn't get greedy and they don't turn the ball over, and I'm telling you, these tight ends are about to go nuts in this game for Nebraska. Matt Rule wants the tight ends involved. He loves the tight ends. And I'm not talking about walking on the beach in Sweden. I'm talking about in the game, the tight end position and the matchup for the tight ends in Nebraska. When you look anatomically, biologically, physicologically, all right, they're so much bigger than the linebackers at Illinois. Don't be shocked if they're pumping the run, get down the red zone. Oh, here's the lollipop. Tight end scored 2 touchdowns.
This is the game where I bet Nebraska fans are worried, but this is why you got Dylan Raiola. This is the guy who's the difference in games like this because you bring back all your defense basically from a production standpoint. You're extremely good at running the ball. The difference is if they do load the box, you now have a guy in Dylan Raiola who can put a threat on your secondary.
And guys on the outside, Nair and Banks and all these guys, they ain't playing around.
This is just a really bad, because I think Illinois is a good football team. This is just a really bad matchup for them.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that 100%. All right, David, you want to go NFL quickly before we get to calls?
Yeah, let's go NFL best and worst from the NFL slate this weekend.
Yeah, my best, and we're going to talk more NFL, throughout the week. It's tough on Mondays. Marvin Harrison Jr. got 1 target last week. Now he owns 3 targets, next to where he's at now. Absolutely incredible. The Cardinals are pretty good. Like last week against the Bills, they really should have won the game. Like this Kyler Marvin Harrison Jr. connection, it's going to be around a long time, buddy. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great answer after the game. He said Kyler Murray had 4 incompletions. They're all to me. That's my fault. I freaking love this guy. I love this guy. Congrats to him. I mean, absolutely balled. he fits right in. Anybody that was worried after week 1 should be worried now.
What's your worst?
My worst, I'm going to reserve this spot for the Carolina Panthers.
Every week?
Every week. Because they just benched Bryce Young. Good. Let's put Andy Dalton in there. Wait till you see that. Bryce Young wasn't good, but Andy Dalton's not going to be much better. This is the worst NFL team of my lifetime that I have ever seen. And I don't even think gingivitis can save him now.
Don't do Andy like that.
Don't do Andy like that.
I'm just saying, it's a real thing.
Charlotte is where dreams die when it comes to NFL football. They don't need to have a team anymore.
Where should they go? Tell them.
Birmingham.
Bring it on.
I'm telling you.
We got the Stallions in Birmingham.
No.
Look, Bryce Young is 3 years away from having to learn to speak Birmingham Stallion anyway. Let's just bring him on over here.
It's not looking good for
not
Bryce
the
right
city,
now.
though.
Thank you, Justine. Look, we're going to get to the Giants, too.
I don't know. Did you watch NC State
I don't want to talk about it.
Justine, it's a bad day all around for you. What's your best and worst?
Yeah, my worst, Will Levis.
Oh.
And the crazy thing about it to me is, people are surprised about all the crazy stuff he does on the field. They're surprised by it, and I'll never know why. The man puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yeah.
He eats bananas with peels on them. Of course he's going to go out there and surrender Cobra in the third quarter. Of course he's going to leapfrog a pass 13 yards over a guy's head. That's Will Levis. You shouldn't be surprised of it. It could go great. It's like Final Destination. Either it's great or it's roller coaster, everything's
His
dead.
mayonnaise commercials are solid, though.
I didn't say they're not. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying you put mayonnaise in your coffee. Don't be mad when he throws a ball behind the line of scrimmage.
I don't know who beats himself worse, the Tennessee Titans or Jeffrey Tubin.
Shut up, Jake.
I don't know. It's a tight race. It's a tight race. At least one was on Zoom. The other one was on national television.
Yeah, that's tough. My best, Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Bro.
They look good.
Bro. Is it more about the Saints or the Cowboys? But this is 2 weeks in a row.
I think it's no.
Clint Kubiak.
Cowboys. Look, I think all the talk of Spencer Rattler kind of pissed him off. Kind of pissed him off a little bit, and he was like, all right, fine, F it, watch this. And Derek looks pretty good. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception against Dallas, 250 through the air, and he looks calm. He looks like he knows what he's looking at, and he doesn't look rushed. And that always helps when you have Alvin Kamara going for 150.
Yeah, I had to play against him in fantasy. I get it.
I don't want to talk about
49 points.
Throw up. I played against Fairburn yesterday.
Also, maybe Clint Kubiak can just really run an offense.
Yeah.
Dude, Shaheed is really he's made plays in the past, but goodness gracious.
Speaking about Derek Carr, and this kind of gets into my best as well. I saw this today. The year is 2024. Derek Carr is statistically the best passer in the league. Gardner Minshew has the highest completion percentage. The longest TD of the season was thrown by Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield is undefeated and just barely behind Derek Carr. And Kyler Murray just threw a perfect 158 passer rating game.
Man, what a time to be alive.
How insane is that? And Kyler Murray, look, that's my best from the weekend too. Is I haven't been a huge proponent of his for a while, but he's a problem, man.
Yeah,
he's a problem, and it's not just running around because you don't know, because you can't hit 3 in a hitch and throw the football downfield. I mean, he's making plays for his team, and like you said, I don't think this connection with Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be going away.
Oh no, it's a problem.
And that Rams team, they're depleted, man. I don't know if they're going to be able to get healthy, but that's still a solid win.
If Kyler Murray was 6'2", he'd be the best player in the NFL.
Dude, I don't know. Sometimes I think him being little helps.
As someone who's tall and everyone who's always like, oh, if I were that tall, I'd be blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, what if I was that fast?
It's a lot easier to tackle Chewbacca than an Ewok.
But what about if Chewbacca was flying?
Well, he can.
Run.
And he
also,
has
we just all collectively agree that Harrison Butker hitting the walk-off field goal, that's really the best.
Yes.
Bro. Harrison Butker.
And I would say that
do
the Chiefs get the benefit of the doubt in the whistle sometimes? I think they do. But that was pass interference.
Do we have the play?
Yeah. Let's play. This is pass interference. Right. You can't. Just play it. Just play it. Rolling to his left. Desperation. Dude, you can't do that. I coached DBs for 10 years. You can't do that.
How big of a fan of a team do you have to be to watch them be like, nah, we got cheated.
Yeah.
Not passing.
Well, because y'all threw at Jamar Chase 5 times.
Well, and I love that people are like, oh, he was going for the ball. What? That doesn't matter at DB. You could stab him while simultaneously going for the ball. That's a horrible explanation for why that wasn't a penalty. But we'll see. Got a good game tonight, too. Falcons and Eagles. We'll see if Jalen Hurts cannot turn the ball over and if the Falcons can find a semblance of offense.
Take Elliott, please.
Yeah, I know you need him bad. But speaking of trouble, before we get to calls, if you're struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns.
Damn!
I know, it's bad. It's a bad start. The IRS is escalating collections by adding 20,000 new agents and sending millions of demand letters. We tried to tell them not to do it, but they're not listening to us. And don't handle this alone, all right? You need a coach on your team. And that's where Tax Network USA, they're your saving, man, right? They're your Don Shula. They're your saving grace. They got over 14 years of experience, which is a ton, which is the same as Cam Rising. First thing they do, they have protection. Upon signing up, they immediately call the IRS and they stop the garnishments, levies, and property seizures. Hey, y'all stop, all right? Second, compliance. If you haven't filed in a while, you need amended returns, you got some missing, I wouldn't know where to look for it, but they would. They'll Nicolas Cage National Treasure this whole thing. Put lemon juice on the back of the Declaration of Independence. They got to. And then 3, settlement. They'll evaluate your financials and they'll create a plan, the blueprint, the game plan for you to get back out of tax debt so you can have peace of mind, which makes life a piece of cake. For a complimentary consultation, call today at 1-800-958-1000 or visit their website, tnusa.com/booster. That's 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/booster. Don't let the IRS take advantage of you. Run a play action. Take advantage of them. They'll never see it coming. All right, David.
If I told you there was a caller on the line called Corn Crazed, what state would you say he's from?
I would say Nebraska, David. Or
close.
Iowa.
Okay. Iowa. Corn Crazed, what's up?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Hey, you guys Corn Crazed fans yet?
Oh, dude. I'm
corned out right now.
Love it.
I'm Cornelius Williams.
Corn on the way 3-0.
I know.
It's been a long time since I've been this happy, and I got married 3 years ago.
Well, it just feels like, you know what it reminds me? For Nebraska fans, this is like got to be what it's like at the end of Titanic when she dies and then like walks through the door and like all her old friends are there during like the prime of her life.
It's like
is that this moment for Nebraska fans?
It's like a superhero a movie, like when you think he's dead, right? You think he's dead and they're closing in the shot and the movie's ended.
It's like Superman with the dirt.
Right before it ends, he moves.
That is like...
Right before it shuts off, he moved.
It moved.
Well, hey, guys, I was curious. I called last year thinking that Tony White was going to be leaving us. I just wanted some early predictions on, do you think Tony White's going to go to a Power 5 school or a transition school at the end of this year? And also at the end of the press conference game, or after the game Saturday, Matt Rule was saying something about, I don't even know if I'm going to be here in a couple of years or whatever, unprovoked. So I don't know what you guys think of that. I mean, I know what the college football atmosphere is like today, but if Matt Rule were to leave, how long do you think that he would be at Nebraska if he wins, say, 8 games this year, 9 next year?
Well, after what happened in the NFL, I don't think you really got to worry about him going back to the league. As far as Tony White, I don't know him personally. I don't know where some guys, look, my father never wanted to be a head coach. Even when he coached at Auburn, he just wanted to be a defensive coordinator. Some guys are like that, right? So I don't know Tony personally. Would he take a group of 5 head job if it was the right one? I don't know. Would he take a Power 4 head job if it was the right one? I don't know. Here's what I'll say about Matt Rule. Matt Rule is playing 4D chess now. Like, I don't think he was saying that like he was going somewhere. I think he was saying that like, we're 3-0. They're gassing me up right now. Maybe I should be like, well, I could get fired in a couple years if it doesn't go good. And you know what everybody says? No, extension. Extend him again. Pay him even more. I think Matt Rule is playing a little 4D.
You think, Corn Crazy, do you think Matt Rule would go to Florida?
I don't think he'd go to a SEC school, honestly. I'm thinking Penn State because that's his alma mater. Who knows what's going to happen to Jeff Franklin, in these next couple of years. So I would keep an eye on Penn State.
Interesting. You talking about mama calls, huh? Could that be the only way? We'll see.
Appreciate it, Corn Craze.
Great call, man. Appreciate it.
Friday. All right, let's go to Thad in Kansas. Thad, what's up?
Hey, boys. How's it going?
Thad,
what's up, Thaddeus?
Well, first off, I'm pumped. It's day 5 of 5 for football. We got football tonight. So
come on.
Oh, yeah. It's an emotional time.
About that. If I didn't take this chance to give a holler to Timmy B from my wife, she's a big K-State fan. The fact that when he's commentator, he's awesome. Love listening to him.
Look, Brando does. Most people love him. Some people hate him. Timmy B does a really good job. I'll take Tim Brando over Gus Johnson calling a game 10 out of 10 times. And you know what? he should be one of the voices on the college football video game. I think they did him a disservice not putting him on there.
We're 10 toes down for Timmy B.
Yeah, we're 10 toes around here.
Absolutely. I'm 10 toes down here in Kansas, holding it down for you too. But Wildcat, or the K-State won the Wildcat fever. And
they did.
And so now to get to Oklahoma. First, my prediction was like Samsonite. I was way off. But with the Stephen Hawking comment, he rolled all over the field for defense. But I know I'm not near as knowledgeable as you guys when it comes to football. I'm trying to get a little bit more into it now that I'm 34. But
nice.
If they execute, and I think you mentioned it already today, if they execute perfectly and are able to get Nico out of his comfort zone, they have a chance to win, but they got to force some mistakes with Tennessee. And I was taking notes for last week's game or on Saturday, but a oversized load hit a bridge, so I had to go work that crash and wasn't able to follow the second half.
Oh, man, dang.
So it wasn't bad.
Told you not to let Blaine drive.
Yeah, look, from Tony White transitioning into over wide loads, we're going through it right now.
We are. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. But with for the potential win on that, I think that if they execute perfectly, and it's going to be more of a defensive game than it will be an offensive game.
That's what Oklahoma needs. Yeah, Oklahoma needs a low-scoring game or a lower-scoring game to win this with that.
Oklahoma has to hold Tennessee under 30 points.
I agree with that. Great
call, man.
Thanks, Thad.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, man. All right, let's go to Mike in Alberta. Mike, what's up?
Hey, gentlemen. How's it going?
Hello, what's up, man?
Can you hear me?
We got you, Mike.
Perfect. So, Coney, I told you I'd call back after that game. I thought for a second there I was going to have to admit that you were right about the Patriots, but, man, we just squeaked that sucker out. What's going on there?
Are you talking about the Seahawks?
You're talking about Michigan, right?
You're talking about the Seahawks?
I'm talking about the Seahawks where Coney said the Patriots were going to beat us.
I mean,
I did?
They
You did.
Oh, I don't. That's the first I'm hearing that I've been higher on the Patriots this year.
Well,
Mike McDonald 2-0, man.
Dude, I mean, look, was it pretty? No. Is Metcalf a monster? Yes. I worry about the Seahawks in pass pro, man. Like that's the thing that worries me. That and being able to cover the tight end. I mean, if you're playing the Patriots, I'm covering Hunter Henry. Like that's one of the main guys I got to stop. Hunter Henry. You stop them, but he's learning as he's going. And he hadn't lost a game yet, so it's...
Man, one guy that doesn't get talked about enough, I believe, is Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I think Geno Smith just comes in and just does a great job and doesn't really get as much recognition as he could. He's just a good fit at Seattle. A lot better fit than Jacoby Brissett at the Patriots to me. I think y'all will be fine. Except with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
They finally got him involved.
Jackson Smith finally got involved.
Tyler Lockett still, played in the league for 50 years.
Tyler's a little bit beat up, but look. The Seahawks defensively, Witherspoon, I think, is one of the best in the league, especially as young as he is at corner. The Seahawks will be fine. Y'all are young and with talent.
Mm-hmm. Charbonnet, great game. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I had him on my bench. Wish I had started him, but
that's right.
They really got him involved. So it's all good, Mike.
So I'm looking ahead at the schedule, and we got the Dolphins. They only got Tua. We got the Lions. We've owned them since Blaine was back in high school. And then we got the Giants. Is there a chance we could be 5-0 when we go to get spanked by the 49ers?
Where's the Lions game?
That's not Detroit.
It almost feels. Look, I think you take 4-1 standing up right now. But the Lions are going to be pissed after what happened against the Bucs at home, though. They that organization's going in the right direction. But you want to test like that, right? You want to see where you're really at.
Mm-hmm.
You betcha. Well, thanks for shaking my call, boys.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Mike.
See you, man. Alberta. All right, let's go to Joshua in Knoxville, Tennessee. Joshua, talk to us.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Hey, so after Tennessee goes to Oklahoma and absolutely manhandles them this weekend, will they become a favorite in the SEC?
Well, I think here's what I think is going to happen. If let's say Tennessee does go and do that, you're going to have some serious questions when looking at Georgia and Texas for a couple reasons. One, Quinn Ewers is hurt, right? We saw Arch come in and do well, but they're better when Quinn's there. I think Texas' physicality, as we talked about it, has been the reason they've been able to make this move and stay where they're at. Then you look at the way that Georgia performed against Kentucky on offense and defense. I'm not shocked that Kentucky found a way to slow down Georgia on offense because we haven't seen Georgia be able to make really explosive plays like we saw with Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers last year. And I don't care, even if you're Georgia, you're not going to be able to go 9, 10, 11, 12 plays consistently and score touchdowns. What I'd be more worried about if I was a Georgia fan was that me, you, and everybody in the world and outside on spaceships circling the earth knew that all Kentucky really could do is run the ball, and they weren't even that great at that, and you still couldn't stop it. So now if Tennessee goes up there and handles Oklahoma, you're looking around and saying, all right, I know where Georgia's a little bit deficient. We feel like Texas has got to get healthy at quarterback to reach their highest level of efficiency, but Tennessee is playing damn near perfect the whole season. So yes, I don't know how you don't put Tennessee, if they perform really well this weekend, at least close to where you put Texas and Georgia. And then you look at the line of scrimmage and say, well, in the past, that's where Georgia has separated themselves. I don't know right now, dog.
And you got to think Georgia, from a physicality standpoint, who do they play a week before Tennessee? It's Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss wants to run the football, so that could add up.
And you'll get Alabama at home.
Yeah.
So, because I think if Tennessee goes on the road and beats Oklahoma, the two teams for the rest of the season that you could say are on your level or better than you, Georgia and Alabama, and you get one of them at home.
Yeah.
So that's all you can.
Tennessee gets Bama at home.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's just.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, let's go to Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, what's up?
What is up, you guys? It is the Heartbroken Hog here.
What's up, man?
We're enemies this week, dog.
Mm-hmm. We are. And I was watching y'all's recap Sunday morning, and I wasn't sure if y'all even watched the Arkansas game with how down y'all were on this game, because Arkansas looked terrible against UAB.
Did you watch the Auburn game?
That should tell you a lot about Auburn.
Yeah, I don't think it was because we think Arkansas is the greatest team in the world.
Oh.
I just don't think Auburn can run on defense, and there is no edge when Taylon Green's on the field. If he just throws the ball okay, they're a problem. But this is what we talked about in the offseason with Arkansas with Green. Can Petrino just turn him into a good enough passer where his legs can be a huge difference as well and help other guys get open? Because it wasn't like he was having to make NFL throws against UAB. He was missing wide open guys. He missed some guys against Oklahoma State, but he made the throws he had to make. But when you're talking about just athletically and physically, I think UAB's defense athletically is somewhat close to Auburn's, as sad as that is.
What'd the line open at 4?
Plus 4.5 Arkansas?
Plus 4.5 Arkansas. Gotcha.
Which that thing's gonna go.
Matthew, what's your prediction, man?
Honestly, it's probably going to be another heartbreaking, close loss. We're probably going to be up like 28-20, something in the fourth quarter, and then we'll turn the ball over, and then we'll still have a chance to drive the field.
I don't think you know Auburn's capability of blowing
penalties.
football games.
Well, this is just like, again, it's almost like when Wukong fights Wukong. Like, who... Like, these are like two, but it's at the opposite end. It's like not good. It's like, who can blow it the most?
Nobody's going to win this game.
Yeah, like, who can lose it the worst? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, Taylon Green out there's some times where he's running, I want to say, man, that's Lamar-esque right there. And then he'll be throwing the ball, and I want to say, man,
that's Lamar-esque.
Jamarcus Russell-esque. What are we doing?
Hey, I'll trade right now. I will take Taylon Green right now. Trade on the spot. Hell, we'll even throw in a long snapper.
Can I get in on this?
We'll sweeten the deal.
We don't want that trade. We know y'all's QB situation now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Taylon Green's like Hawkeye compared to... Well, and we'll see with Hank Brown. Hey, you got to give him a chance.
All right, appreciate it. I hate you. All right,
hate you, buddy.
I hate you. Hope you lose.
All right, let's go to Mike in Colorado. Mike, what's up, man?
Hey, boys. Good to talk to you.
Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I wanted to know, I know the Heisman has turned into the beauty pageant for quarterbacks the last several years, but is there any way that you can make a case right now that Travis Hunter is not the best all-around college football player and should not win that award?
I think he'll be a finalist, man. I really do.
It's just how many games can Colorado win? Like,
I don't know if that applies to him, though.
4 games and be or 5 games.
I think it applies to Shedeur. I think it applies like to to be a finalist. I'm not saying what.
Oh, I'm talking about to win it, not be a finalist.
I think he'll be a finalist no matter if Colorado lost every other
I
game.
do agree with that, but winning
to do that, you have to do something no other player has done, and he is doing that. On both sides of the ball, he's not missing a snap, really.
What?
So that's going to keep him in the conversation.
It is. Is Travis Hunter the best overall player in college football? I think that's the question you have to ask yourself, and I think probably yes. But the best overall player in college football typically doesn't win the Heisman, as crazy as that sounds.
I think a lot of it, he plays both sides of the ball. There's a lot of guys in college who could play both sides of the football if they wanted to. So I think he's going to be in there for that reason. Look, he's an elite talent, but he's not going to do that in NFL. You better pick a side. You're going to have to pick a side, and you're going to play it.
Well, it needs to be wide receiver.
I don't think he's the best player in college football, no. But
who would you say is the best? Who do you think?
Give me James Pierce.
You would take James Pierce over Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
I disagree 100%. Unless you give the ball to James Pierce.
That or
Cam Scatterbo.
Run around.
Either that or
Cam Scatterbo.
Give it this.
That's
that
exactly
or probably,
right.
I'd probably take Will Campbell.
I'd probably go Diego Pavia.
Pavia is nice.
There's something I just love.
Appreciate it, Mike. I don't know what's going on the line.
It's like R2-D2's being put in a chokehold right now.
Y'all let R2 go.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Let him go. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man. All right, let's go to Michael in Texas. Michael, talk to us.
Happy Monday, fellas.
What's up, man?
I wanted to talk about, you guys touched on the Michigan game. I agree with the quarterback change. Orji, I think, deserves a shot to play a full game instead of coming in for third and short situations. You guys meant, David, you talked about the third down the defense gave up on the first drive. I think at least one, if not maybe two of them, were because of penalties. A hand to the face and then a late hit out of bounds. The concern for me is how undisciplined really the team overall has been compared to last year. It's very concerning to me.
Well, third down conversion is a third down conversion. And, yeah, the late hit out of bounds, I'm sitting there looking
that was stupid.
Like, how are we doing that? But also, he got lost in zone coverage on either that play or the play before. So, I don't know. And that's Arkansas State, man. Like, if that's giving you problems, if that's giving you problems on the first drive, Lincoln Riley is about to come in here and feast.
How many times did I watch Arkansas State just throw a now screen out there?
And I had to see the Texas game in person. I had to sit through that for 4 quarters. That game could have been 65-7 if Sark wanted it to be. It really could have been.
Yeah, I mean, because it's the starting corner opposite of Will Johnson. They picked them all day. Texas, Arkansas State, and I'm sure USC will do the same. So I can see, probably Wink will give them a little bit of help, but that's going to free up someone else somewhere else. So that's, like I said, that's going to be an issue. But
I did not have Wink Martindale struggling on third down on my bingo card for college football this year.
Neither does. But one more thing I'll say about Orji himself. I think it's too early to say about him throwing. Yes, he's threw the ball on the ground and things like that every so often, but one pass he threw that was incomplete, which it should have been a touchdown, honestly. It was a deep ball. If the wide receiver hadn't stopped on his double move, or at least jogged, if he was still going full speed, that was a touchdown easily. So I think, I said this about Warren, and I was proven wrong. So hopefully I'm not this time around. But I don't know if I would jump the gun on Orji just yet as a passer. I think he may show that he has some capability there, at least enough to make this game.
Then there's no way Davis Warren would have been starting in the first place. With Orji's skill set on the ground, if it were even close, then you would go with Orji to break the tie with his leg. So the fact that Davis Warren has started for 3 games should tell you that Alex Orji can't complete a pass that's anything more than a slip screen. And hey, maybe we just Jake, you had the best point this week. Maybe they just run the triple option. That's what the RPO game essentially is.
Look, let's do it.
Yeah, him, Mullins, and Edwards every play. Why not?
Let's get him out there. Why not? It's your best hope to be explosive. So we'll see.
All right, appreciate it, everybody, for calling in. If you're on the line still, call in tomorrow, please. Say Pongo.
All right, let's get to bets for tonight, Monday Night Football. Can Kirk Cousins and the Falcons' offense be better? Survey says no. The Eagles -5.5. Going off at -108. Can Jalen Hurts just not make horrific decisions? He doesn't off the field. The guy gives backpack to kids for school, gives homeless people soup and vegetables, trying to get a bill. What?
Man, I want some soup and vegetables. Why don't only the homeless?
Go to the store.
I want Jalen Hurts to give me soup and vegetables.
Okay, well, whatever. Give me the Eagles -5.5 at -108. Then Devontae Smith. Look. Let's go plus 130 on an anytime touchdown.
Ooh.
I like that. You get it plus money. Give me that. I like the Eagles to fly high in the Battle of the Birds tonight. Even though I do got the Falcons winning the division. Remember I said it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, let's go. I went back and forth on the over-under today. Decided to go with the under at 45.5. That's -110. But then I also want Saquon to have the most rushing yards in the football game. That's -135.
All right, bring mine up. We're going back to the well. Give me Dallas Goedert.
It's back.
First touchdown.
That's your
yes.
He's due.
Plus 1,200?
It's going off at a sturdy plus 1,200. I feel like it's a pretty good bet. And give me Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown. It's about time for him to find the end zone. And I wouldn't be surprised. You could probably bet this up to 2+.
Okay. I like that.
On the ground or in the
backfield?
One of both.
Ooh, I like that. Put him in the slot. Little option route. All right, Ace, he's going to ride the lightning with your boy, Bet Buds. Eagles -5.5. And then he's going to go Jalen Hurts, first touchdown score. That would hurt so good at plus 550. All right, let's get to the chat.
All right, I'm going to get to these donos, guys. Thank you all so much for donate. We're going to start it off with a $2 donation.
$2.
From JH. Appreciate it. He says, who's the real UT and why is it Tennessee?
That's a discussion. We don't have enough time to have that discussion. Maybe y'all should play, and then we'll do with Arizona and Kansas State.
That could be
Look, let's throw the state. We're going to have, like the Joker said, we're having tryouts.
$10 donation from Nova. Texas offense was okay last night, but their defense showed up in spades. What were y'all's thoughts on last night's game? Also, it's nice to be the only team in the AFC South with wins.
Yeah, look, the Texans they weren't going to get worse defensively, bringing in Danielle Hunter to add with Will Anderson, and D'Amico Ryans, I think, was just the perfect hire. I mean, he's schematically, he's an old head that's innovative, but the players love him. You can tell the players love to play for him. CJ Stroud's everything and more, man. Like, this is Houston is going nowhere. They're going to be a problem for a long, long time, and I think they've got a core together. You look at Mixon, you look at CJ. I mean, even Dalton at tight end, adding Stephon Diggs to Tank Dell and Nico Collins. It's just an embarrassment of riches. My name should be Richard.
$5 donation from Brian M. Appreciate it. Brian says, hey, guys, just found y'all's show. I love it. I'm going to subscribe. Really appreciate it, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
A $5 donation from David's favorite humping badger. Ha, 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 giggle, giggle, David Cohn. Full finish better than Michigan. Sorry, your QB completed his first 14 passes.
What happened to Wisconsin? I thought you said if Wisconsin lost.
Other teams, fantastic.
Wait. I thought you said if Wisconsin lost, you're going back in the basement. Yo, exactly what we said was going to happen happened.
Get in the basement.
It's got a $5 donation from LB. Missing a live stream because of dissertation defense, but got to shout out my Red Raiders for finally putting a game together.
Hey, Arizona State, Texas Tech, going to be a fun one this week.
Let's go to $2 donation from CD. Said, I told you about Kent State, RIP. Yeah, I'm surprised they have a football team anymore. $10 donation from Cuse. Appreciate it, Cuse. Bears received wide receiver DJ Moore, 2023 first-round pick. Offensive tackle Darnell Wright, 2023 second-round pick. Tyreek Stevenson, 2024 first-round pick. Caleb Williams, 2025 second-round pick for Bryce Young. God, that was a mouthful. $5 donation from Son of Man. I'm more nervous about what I've seen from Orgy than Warren. A dual threat isn't a threat if you can't accurately pass it 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, that's true.
$10 donation from Binks. Appreciate it, Binks. Bryce officially benched. Easy to look at Bama playing behind a bunch of monsters. He's Zach Wilson, except you don't need to hide your mom when he's around. Time to rebuild, starting with Tepper.
I think Tepper's the main problem. You got to get him out or it's not going to change.
$10 donation from F3. All they're going to come seeing off the bus is big, fast, and pissed. Take the balls to cover, boys, because it's a great football team. The boys are hungry in Knoxville, and we coming for that cornbread. $5 donation from Balls Up. Heupel's going to get his revenge. Y'all did it to yourselves.
Dark Josh.
$5 donation from TJ. 2 things should happen at Florida. 1, Billy needs to leave, or 2, hire Brian Harsin. Go Canes.
Yeah.
Let's go to $2. Let's go to...
Blaine started a movement.
Another $2 donation from CD said, hey, Oklahoma, bend over. A train's coming. Let's go to a $10 donation from Flaming Dragon Friday over. I love the handle. Thank you. Did you guys see that Notre Dame lost 2 of their starting offensive linemen? Please tell me there's still a chance to make the playoffs. And if we don't, is Marcus Freeman on the hot seat?
I think Notre Dame's in trouble, man. I think they're in trouble. Y'all can't throw it. And Riley's a good player, but I don't know. I'm not feeling good about it. You already lost, your phenom left tackle before the year. Now you look at the line of scrimmage. And we're going into week 4, man. So
Tough to UFF. Another $5 donation from Q's. Appreciate it, Q's. Coaching hire suggestion for the Gators. And he recently just got out of federal prison, and go hire Nevin Shapiro as the next head coach. Dude is a legend.
Got a yacht.
Let's go to a $5 donation from Chad Smith. Appreciate it, Chad. Tennessee looks real impressive against 3 different versions of Bishop Sycamore. I can't wait for this game. OU getting several starters back.
Okay, Chad. Look,
I love it, Chad. Rep your city, dog.
You gotta
rep your city, dog.
I get it. Be confident. I'm just telling you, I don't know, but
$5 donation from James. Thank you, James. Do y'all think South Carolina will go bowling after the LSU loss, assuming Lenoris Sellers stays healthy?
If Lenoris stays healthy, yeah, you got a shot. Robbie's in there. I don't think so. I'm still hurting for you guys. I know you don't want to hear that, but that just sucks. It's
Is
like
there an
everything
update
that
on
could have gone
Lenoris?
wrong. It was an ankle
thing.
But his running element, his passing element hasn't matched his running element yet. It will down the road, I think. But I just, happy for LSU fans and all that, but just hurting for Shane.
They
Everything
got
that could have
Akron-
gone wrong went wrong.
They got Akron next, then a bye week, so that'll help. And then Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M.
Oh, Lord.
God, that's the hardest.
Lord.
It's the hardest.
You out there.
Hardest middle part of a schedule since LMNOP.
God, that's tough.
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from AU Boy. Appreciate it. He says, Hank, please save us.
Yes, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow. We're going to
$5 donation from Matt. Thank you, Matt. You guys see that Tua has no plans to retire and will come back when doctors say he's healthy.
When it's okay, good luck. When you're driving a van with your teeth in 3 years, don't get mad at me. I try to tell you.
Let's go to a $5 donation from David. Thank you, David. How about them Bucks? No Antonio Winfield Jr., no Khalid Kancey. No problem. Going to Detroit, and we are beating the Lions.
Dude, Baker looks like
we are the crew.
Looks like young Baker.
He got sacked. Aiden Hutchinson had 5 sacks.
Hutchinson is a refrigerator that can bend.
He had 5 sacks in that game, and Baker's like, I don't care. We're still going to beat you.
I'm starting to like this cat. I get it now.
Let's go to $10 donation from Bleeding Orange. He says, Oklahoma sucks. It won't. I don't know why the spread is 7.5. You should be able to play this game up to 13.5. Tennessee on the road. Book it.
Oklahoma needs to catch a lot of breaks.
$5 donation from Ryan. Trivia question for Jake and David. What MLB team just crossed the 90-win mark and is currently 31 games over 500?
Not the Phillies.
Oh, let me guess, Ryan. It's the Phillies.
It would be the Phillies. Yankees. Aaron Judge did a grand slam the other day. All right, $5 donation. Last donation of the days. The AU fan club. He says, hey, guys, love the show. Auburn's in trouble. Where do we go from here?
You got to put Hank out there. Got to hope he can keep making good decisions. Auburn's lack of ability to run on defense. It's one thing if you're blowing assignments, and they blew some. It's another thing if it's all bad angles. I just don't think Auburn can run. And that's as DJ Durkin, and again, the roster was so depleted, and they did a really good job to the transfer portal. This roster just going to have to get better because you can't coach. It's hard to coach your way to a win when you're deficient athletically. Still, and it's better than it was last year, but watching Auburn run around on defense, that's not what is going to win. All
right, we have one come in here late, a $2 donation from the coffee guy. Says, Jake, Jake wears pregnancy sim if OU wins.
Okay. What do you got to do?
Yeah, that's the real
$100 dono. That's the only deals I'm making now. I'll do whatever outside of eating the hot chip. Y'all can kiss my you-know-what before I do that again.
Poll.
$100 dono or nothing.
Who will win Saturday? Tennessee or Oklahoma?
Tennessee, 85%.
I'll say the Oklahoma fans are trying to keep it steady. Tennessee, 84%.
Tennessee, 83.
No way. Is that high?
83?
Oklahoma, 70.
I was being facetious.
You were right.
I was being
83.
Also facetious.
Worries me, man. It just
all right.
worries me.
Wow. Great job, everybody. Shout out to our sponsors, Ketone IQ, Responsible Man. Let's get responsible up in here. And Tax Network USA. They're the coach that can help you get through the bad tax strategy. Make sure you check us out tomorrow. Got a great guest, another great show. Going to be previewing some more games and talking about what happens in the Eagles-Falcons. But until then, like the chances, me being worried about Tennessee's ability to be a complete football team, we're going. It's up there, boy. Oh. See it.
Trash ass.
Yeah, we're gone. Get out of here.